Here's a good tip when you're asked to solve a word problem. What most folks tend to do is read through the entire problem without doing anything and then think that somehow a solution is just going to sort of pop into their head. I think this is a really bad idea because probably one of the biggest things that confronts you when dealing with word problems is just a little bit of panic when you read through a problem and think, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. Well, the way to avoid that is to not read through the whole problem without doing anything, but instead, as you're reading the problem, write down information that sounds like it might be relevant to solving the problem. That way, by the time you get through your reading and know what it is they're asking for, you've already gotten over that hump of just getting a start on the problem. So what I'm going to do in this video is sort of demonstrate what I think is a good procedure for students to use on word problems. So we begin reading. A real estate developer is looking for investors to help fund a new condo complex. Okay, that's information, but there's nothing in there numeric that I think I feel like I ought to write down. So I continue. He promises to pay back 145% of the original investment in 4 years. Well, there I have two pieces of numeric information that I can write down that might play some role in solving the problem. The first of them is that the developer is promising 145% of whatever the investment amount is. Second is that he is promising this return in 4 years. I don't know what the question is yet, but at least I've gotten started. So we continue on. If you're interested in investing $30,000, so there's another piece of numeric information I can write down, that the investment that you're considering is $30,000. If the developer follows through on his promise, how much money will you get back in 4 years? Well, I have something numeric in there, 4 years, but since that matches the 4 years that they mentioned earlier, what it's really asking me to do here is find what 145% of my original investment is. Because of the practice we've done with percentages, we know that when we see 145% of the investment, what that means is 145% in decimal or fraction form times the investment. Well, look, I know the investment is $30,000, so now I've got some direction on solving the problem. I am being asked to answer this question. What is 145% of $30,000? First, I turn my percentage into a decimal by moving the decimal point 2 places to the left, giving me 1.45. As usual, the of becomes a times. My investment is $30,000, so I need to perform the multiplication. 1.45 times $30,000. Pull out my trusty calculator, I push some buttons, and I find that the answer works out to be $43,500. So if I invested $30,000 and I got back 145% of that in 4 years, what I would get back is $43,500.